Hey, y'all, welcome to my channel. Today I'm just going to talk about Formula One in Miami. Um, it's Saturday, of course, so in this case, we've seen the results. Um, First off, this is, of course, the the graphic you see here is actually the Miami racetrack. Of course, this is the second time it's being hosted in Miami. In any case, unfortunately, I couldn't make it to that race, sadly, extenuating circumstances, unfortunately. But in any case, let's go to the qualifying. As far as what the positions will be for tomorrow, starting tomorrow's race. So as we see here, basically, pole position is going to be Sergio Perez, and then two is Fernando Alonso being number two, three with Carlos Sainz. This one is a little bit of a surprise, of course, with Kevin Magnussen with Haas being number four and Pierre Gasly being number five. Russell number six, Leclerc number seven. Now Leclerc on the third qualifying lap, if you see, he basically uh, spun out and hit the wall basically. So as a result, it pretty much ended the race at that point, which kind of sucked for Verstappen, where he's at nine. He was on the verge of coming close to Checo, or probably even getting number one for that matter too. Ocon, finishing eight, of course, and then Bottas finishing number 10. What was the bigger surprise more than anything else is the fact is like if you look on this list, Hamilton being number 13, the fact that he didn't qualify after the second round was really surprising. I think that's something new. I mean, last year Russell didn't qualify in the third round for Mercedes, so one Mercedes has not been able to qualify for the third round for Miami basically. Albon being number 11, Hulkenberg being number 12, Hamilton being number 13. But we look for Hamilton basically. He's probably going to, unless he has the same issues as he had during these qualifying laps, where he almost hit the wall a couple of times. Look for him to finish up in the fifth, maybe sixth spot at least. Seven, I don't see him going below six. Maybe seven, that might be a battle, but I could see him getting up to like six at least for sure. Stroll is a little bit surprised, quite honestly, being an 18. But you know what? That's unfortunately what happened with the first qualifying round. Let's see what happens with the race. It's a possibility, him being young and brash, he will make mistakes, similar to what how Leclerc basically did as well too. He was brash at that point, and being young as well too. I mean, he's experienced, but still the risk taker. But as a result, we saw what happened basically. Now, with Haas and Kevin Magnussen, don't look for him to stay at four. Honestly, Haas, their car is not so great. Look for them, if anything, maybe to hopefully be 9 or 10 at least, gain some points. But in reality, they're not going to last that long. Let's be realistic. Unfortunately, their car is far better than last year's, of course. Magnussen and Nico being both really good drivers. The thing is, Haas is not going to break the at least top seven for sure. This is a case of pure coincidence and luck, I guess, in a ways. So unless there's more luck tomorrow, don't look for Haas to finish in the top five or top seven for that matter. Don't look for them to be in the top seven unless it's by pure luck. Or again, pure luck. Now the thing is like looking at tomorrow's race in Miami. Do we see Sir Checo winning the race, or do we see Max winning the race? Because it's going to be between those two. Alonso, it's going to be between Alonso and Sainz for the number 3 or 4 spot for that last podium, most likely. Maybe even a little bit of Russell for that matter too. I could see Russell coming up and getting in and being in the mix. Gasly, unfortunately, with Renault Alpine, I don't think the engines will be able to last, so they'll probably drop to like 8 at least for sure. At most, they'll go to 8 basically. I don't think they'll go beyond that, quite honestly. Hamilton, of course, I said probably 6, maybe 7, but 6 most likely. Probably could be 5th. I don't see him challenging the podium, unfortunately. The way Alonso and Sainz are driving, I think it's going to be a battle, like I said, for 3 and 4, for that last podium spot. It's going to be a battle between Sainz and Alonso. Verstappen, of course, look for Verstappen to be Verstappen, and essentially Max going all out, probably edging out some drivers, and battling it out with Sir Checo in for the top spot. But look for a 1-2 finish with Red Bull tomorrow, quite honestly. Unless, of course, Alonso is able to hold off, as well as Sainz. If they're both able to hold off Verstappen, look for a 1-2 with Red Bull tomorrow. Now, the question is between Aston Martin and Ferrari, who's going to get that third spot? It's hard to say. For the number 4 spot, of course, it's going to be one or the other. The number 5 spot, I would say it's most likely going to be Russell. Leclerc is probably going to fall out of favor. He's going to do something. Russell, unless he does some creates a big mistake, I think he's going to be in the number 5 spot. And as I said, Hamilton probably will come up and overtake Gasly and Magnussen for sure. Bottas is not going to last, unfortunately. Ocon might be able to, but in reality, I think it's going to be between Gasly and. So, for the number 6 spot, I can see Gasly and Hamilton battling it out. But I think Hamilton overtakes him because of the fact that the Mercedes car is far more better than Alpine Renault right now at this point. But outside of that, this is going to be definitely an interesting race tomorrow. Quite honestly, because of the fact is like it's the weather. I think the weather tomorrow in Miami is. Let me take a look and see. Sunday. It's going to be 82 degrees, and there's going to be a little bit of light rain. So around the time of the, I would say around the time of the possibility of rain. There's a possibility of rain, of course. Like it's like about 30% chance of rain tomorrow. If there is rain, it's probably going to be in the early afternoons, basically, whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Talking about deja vu. For some reason, I feel like I've done this already in the past, talking and all that stuff. But yeah, the race, of course, starting at 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. Look for, like I said, Though I wouldn't look for any big red flags, quite honestly. I mean, unless someone like spins out really badly. Um, Alonso should again battle it out with Sainz for the 3-4 spot. For the 3 spot, it's going to be a battle between them. No one's going to come close to them at that point, quite honestly. The only way I see a battle not happening is if Sainz makes a mistake. I don't see Alonso making a mistake or having any of the 2 cars having issues. I think it's more of a case where um, you'll see maybe Verstappen might have overtaken one of it and causes them to make a mistake on their end. But I don't see that happening. I think it's going to be a game of basically the pit stops. That's what it's pretty much going to come down to. But outside of that, I don't see it to be I don't think this race is going to be as exciting as we expected it to be. It would be exciting, of course, if there were some crashes and such. Brings in some drama at that point as well, or even more drama, quite honestly. But I don't see that happening either in this race. I can foresee that happening in Vegas, quite honestly. I can see it happening in Vegas, but I don't see that happening here in of course, Miami. But with that, I'll leave it at that. Again, if you like my videos, my channel, my content, and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It'd be great. Also, again, I read all my comments, so please leave a comment. I do respond to them when they warrant a response as well. And also, if you have any thoughts as to what's going to happen in the Miami race, you think, well, even for the season, basically, if you think there's something like Verstappen, it's going to be just well, I've already said in one of my videos between Verstappen and Max. Between Max and Checo, it's going to be between those two for the championship, but most likely it's going to be Max winning it out, basically, and getting his 3rd championship in a row. And of course, Red Bull getting their, what's that called? Getting their Constructors' Cup at that point as well, too, quite honestly, because I don't see anyone else overtaking Red Bull for this year. Next year, it'll be a different story. Let's see what happens with Ferrari. Same thing with Aston Martin and Mercedes for that matter too. But I think the number 2 constructor spot is going to be an interesting battle. That's something that I think everyone should be looking forward to see. Basically, that's going to be an interesting one between Merc and Aston Martin. It's going to come down to those two basically. So which one? I don't think, unless for some unknown reason, Ferrari comes up and they start winning, which I highly doubt. It's going to be between Merc and basically Aston Martin. Most likely it's going to be Aston Martin, which is I think going to shock everyone at that point, quite honestly, as well too. And I think it makes Papa Stroll look like a genius, bringing Alonso and stealing Alonso from Alpine to go into Aston Martin. And then with that, I'll leave it at that. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments and whatnot. With that, I'll leave it at that. Unfiltered, unedited, and unrehearsed. Until next time.